Rodney Grinter, so time will tell. We'll know in a few seconds, I would think.
So, the match of the season, I guess, really, but conditions so bad. First quarter from the Melbourne Cricket Ground, the big one, Geelong and Melbourne. The Cats going for their sixth on end. Dwyer gets up right underneath the ball as Healy poops the Demons forward. It's stopped like a plucked golf ball. It's picked up well by Spalding. Shoots out the hand pass. No reserves game here today, but that ground is oh so heavy. It's a shame to have to play football on it. Now Grinter comes out with the ball, but it's going to be a free kick for the Cats. What was that for, Ross? Any idea at all?
Yeah, over the shoulder, Peter.
A free kick taken by Hocking. Goes out towards Bruns. He might get a free kick too, Neville Bruns. He has done.
Darren Flanagan at full-back for Geelong on Jim Steins.
Certainly got the height to match him. And Dwyer, just a little use of the body there. Nothing for it. Could have almost been in the back to Hocking. In fact, it is. Hocking with the free kick at right centre wing. The ball already wet and greasy. Up towards half forward. White got underneath the ball. Johnson's kick effectively smothered. Chance for the Cats and Malakaris. Added to some of the heaviest parts of the ground. Scott can't get clear. He's well pinned. Booted away by Melbourne.
Johnson's kick back towards the wing. It goes to the back. Good gather by Spalding. Tries to get the hand pass out the back. It's effective. Stretch. Left foot kick to the muddy practice cricket pitch area. And what a great mark taken by the recent inclusion in the state squad, Tim Darcy. Tremendous mark. And look at the conditions now. He's only been on the ground there, or flat on the ground, for perhaps half a second. And he's covered in mud. Very sticky. The kick a bit awkward. Hocking. That's Steve Hocking. Off it goes to Couch. Couch is kicked over the centre. Punched away. Scott gathers. Phoebe the tackler for Melbourne. The kick to centre half forward. Good punch away by White. Lyon can't possess the ball. Ablett first into the play. The ball comes wide now. Stretches over the top of it. Good pick up by Buse. Finds his way clear to get the kick up towards full forward. It's a nice long kick. It's in the square. It's been rushed over for the first score of the match, and it's a behind to the Cats.
And that square almost dry, it seems. Of course, some sawdust has been placed down there. Danny Hughes favours the member stand side, and the mark is taken by Lyon.
Looks as though he's got the job on Ablett too, Peter.
After all, what a pair. From the match winners on their day, maybe they'll negate each other. That's a strong mark by Boss. Dragged in just short of the left half-forward flank. Mark Boss, who's played all 11 games so far this year, one of 11 Cats to have done that. So they've had a good run with injuries on that score. As the sun goes behind a cloud, quite mild, as Michael Roberts mentioned, just before the game got underway. And of course, we've had a lot of rain in the past couple of weeks, and the ground very, very heavy. Out to centre wing, another Geelong mark. It's taken this time by Schultz. Schultz at left centre wing. Tried for the spiral punt kick, didn't really get onto it. Up over the half-forward line, Malakaris goes for the hand pass, takes it back himself, relays it in turn to Hocking, tried to find Bairstow with the ball. Couldn't pick it up. Phoebe, who handled the wet conditions at Princes Park last week excellently. A couple of fumbles, the end result of which is going to be a ball up. I nearly said a bounce. We won't be seeing any of those here today. And Dwyer took off the 4 nominations, leaves it for Burke, in turn to Scott. 4 Melbourne players are there. But a big pack develops. Phoebe's kick out into the open spaces, and some of the better conditions out here, if that's the right word. Stretch fires out an excellent hand pass. White, the underground kick.
A good kick there, Peter. Very intelligent kick there from Sean White.
Yes, he found the boundary line. Not so many other options, were there?
And he's picking up Bruce Libner from Geelong.
So he likewise will have a busy day. This is the duel that could develop. Burke and O'Dwyer. One by O'Dwyer. Here he takes the hand pass from Arshold up into the centre square. Ball knocked down for Newport, who was selected as a ruck rover. No mark played down there. Steins made a valiant effort. Now it's Darcy. Mud bespattered. And penalised for holding the ball.
And the kick to be taken by Lovett. Lovett's kick into the pocket. Chance for Melbourne. He just couldn't quite get to it. That was Howard. Now Tingay. Tap on. Howard deep in the pocket. Left foot snap across the face of goal. Now a chance for Morgan. Gets the hand pass off to Boss. A very, very consistent performer, Mark Boss. His hand pass finds Buse. Buse round onto the right foot. Kicks it into the centre. It's a little short. And the mark has been taken by Newport. So Stephen Newport, what a great player he's been for Melbourne. His kick is astray, and the mark has been taken by Bairstow at centre-half back for the Cats. A high kick by Bairstow out wide, gives the chance for Scott to run at it. Phoebe's hot on his tail, and he shrugs the Phoebe tackle well. Scott kicks the Cats up towards half forward. Good punch by Ablett, but Lyon playing in front, bumps Scott off the ball. Kick off the ground by Melbourne, up towards the centre wing. Nearly a mark to Tingay. They've got 4-1. The kick by Tingay is short, and the mark has been taken by Flanagan. Poor play by the Melbourne player.
He should have gone short to Lovett, who could have got over the top there to Jim Steins.
Darren Flanagan, be keen to do well. Retired a few weeks back, was lured out of it. Scott just can't drag it in before it's over the boundary line. And Darren Flanagan having the job at the moment of minding big Jim Steins, who played so very well. Kevin Gosper, I think that was, from the Australian Olympic Federation. Watching proceedings, that's out of bounds. And I guess if AOF officials or Olympic officials saw the ground today, it wouldn't help Melbourne's bid for the games, but they're not going to be held in the middle of winter. And of course this stadium was in excellent condition when they were held here in 1956 between November the 22nd and December the 8th. Dwyer and Burke. Neither ruckman able to get an effective tap out. In fact, no one's making any headway at all, the end result of which is going to be a ball up right on the centre wing.
Melbourne starting with Ricky Jackson, Brian Wilson on the bench. Geelong have Andrew Rogers and also Bill Brownless, who we've come to expect in the last few weeks.
Well, Jackson did well when he came on at Princes Park last week. Kicked a goal within 3 minutes of coming onto the ground. Out of bounds again, right near the practice wicket area. That's one of the heaviest parts of the ground. The centre, incidentally, has been covered. The covers were on yesterday and overnight. Burke and O'Dwyer once again. Knocked down by O'Dwyer, but that's on the shoulder, says the umpire, and Damien Burke will take the free kick at right half-back flank.
Must be in front of those. Yeah, my word. Must be in front on all occasions, those bounce downs.
Up towards centre field, Malakaris fumbles, chance for Boss. And that's the firmest part of the ground. The ball tapped out. Picked up for Geelong by Linder. His hand pass onto Morgan and turn onto Burke. Burke's kick trying to find Scott, who's handled the wet conditions so far well, but Phoebe, his tag, wins out on that occasion. Excellently played by the Demon defender. Knock away by Burke, almost effective. Finds Morgan, almost finds Morgan. Morgan finds the boundary line.
And in these conditions, players really should, when they run at the ball, just not go totally flat out. It's very easy to lose your footing and slip over the ball. Better to go just under top pace and try and control that ball a bit better.
So in front, Flanagan gets the tap down. Now a struggle for possession. Couch onto the right foot, now onto the left, and Couch gets clear, kicks it up towards the wing. Stretch overruns it, tap on by Bairstow. Stretch back after it again. Great effort by Bruns, chipping in Lovett. Short pass is great to White. Demons on fire, White up towards full forward. Kick is short, Darcy can't mark. Morgan a chance to kick clear. The kick is smothered. Gathered by Healy, hand pass out the back, Newport. Newport's kick to full forward. No mark taken, Cats a chance to clear through Boss. He's kicked towards centre half back. Kick off the ground now by Gary Hocking, in towards the centre, and what a good mark taken there by Bairstow.
What a good kick. Kicks off the ground some statisticians don't really like, but you'd have to put that one down as being very effective. As is the pass by Bew, or two Bews. Named as a rover, and of course one selection in the back pocket for Victoria. Phoebe marking in front of Scott.
Game of defences so far.
It is only one behind scored so far. And about 17 minutes left in the opening term. Stretch. Gee, how can you do that on a day like today? Excellent play by the South Australian. Ball socket. It's inside 50. And he tapped out over the boundary line.
Good pace there shown by young John Howard of Melbourne. He was behind Mark Boss as he ran for the ball and used his pace to get in front and end up taking that ball over the line. Well played.
Saw him first play against the Swans in Sydney, and he handled the wet conditions well up there. Steins leaves it for Healy, who kicked 3 goals last week. Fumbled by Newport. That's Geelong in through Couch from left half-back flank. Couch boots it towards centre field or centre wing. Lyon, Scott playing well, handled the conditions excellently so far. That's Adlett's first touch onto Bruns. Booted forward for Geelong by Bairstow. That's a long kick, but only witnesses one behind. This is to the far side.
Could be one of the longest kicks you'll see today. Of course, Mark's Bairstow, an excellent exponent of torpedo punt.
Danny Hughes kicks in pretty well straight up the centre and finds Simon Eishold. That was an excellent kick to position. Now here's Gary Lyon, one of the stars in the Demon team. 2-on-2 up there. Steins at the back. Could have infringed a tackle on Darcy. And he did well to get his kick in. Bairstow. These days doubles as a horse trainer. His kick up towards right half forward. It's all Melbourne. Campbell should get there first. Mr. Clay full forward. Love it. Markle free kick surely to Melbourne.
Yeah, free kick.
I think it's Newport. Is it Newport down there?
Yes, it is.
Steve Newport in the back, left centre wing. And his name as a defender, but of course playing well as a ruck rover these days. Bairstow to Hocking. Hocking's kick is high towards the right half forward flank. White got one hand to it. Bruns from a standing start gets about 40 metres. Exel at the back. Exel was almost held. Sockers it. Great goal. First of the match.
Well, a great goal is a torpedo by Exel. He and Gary Ablett are the leading goal kickers for Geelong this season, both with 39 goals apiece. And that two-pronged attack, along with Robert Scott and also Stone, has been very, very effective for Geelong. Great use of the body as well by Exel. Danny Hughes, a very strong player on the body. He used the tussle. Exel well in front, could even have got a free kick for over the shoulder and used his brains very well to kick off the ground for a goal.
So Exel and Hughes having a little bit to say to each other. The play goes on, bounce in the centre. Geelong a chance to get clear again. Pulled off the ball was Boss. Didn't have it, says the umpire. And the free kick will be taken by Boss. He just gets his kick away. Nearly the mark there to Stoneham. Eishold in there for Melbourne. And the umpire will come in and ball it up. Umpires Carey and Russo officiating. Very important game. If Geelong win and Hawthorn happen to go down at Moorabbin, Geelong could go to the top of the ladder. Their percentage is excellent in this muddy centre. Now Couch gets his right foot to the ball, up towards half forward. Cats have the players when the ball hits the deck. This time it's Scott off the ground into the pocket. Desperation by Sean White.
How about courage?
Exel, the Geelong player, and Sean White comes out with a free kick, and Exel comes out with a sore body.
I think the umpire paid that for effort. The actual tackle was on his stomach. Great effort there from Sean White.
White's kick out wide, and it's punched over the line by Steve Hocking as Exel recovers from that clash with that desperate Melbourne defender, Sean White. Boundary throw in about 75 metres around from the Geelong goal. Beveridge just looking on. Gary Hocking gets it out the back. Love it, creative play off to Eishold. Eishold's short pass is good, and the mark's been taken out there by Steins. He's forced to kick around the corner, and he kicks it up into the forward pocket for Melbourne. Leading in the race for the ball is Howard.
There's some very untidy play there by a couple of Geelong players. The Melbourne players retaliating, and Gary Lyon was on the end of it. Yes, a couple of players in the screen, the initiators of that little scrimmage. Unfortunately, one of the most fairest players in the league is now on the deck.
The play goes on in the forward pocket for Melbourne. Bruns will get Geelong out of trouble. Kicks it back towards the centre. Gather by Campbell for the Demons, and from a standing start, kicks it to half forward. The mark's been taken by Morgan.
Darren Morgan, right half back flank. Gary Lyon still on the deck, a most unsportsmanlike incident. Andrew Bewes admired the skills of this fellow. Gets the hand pass out to Bairstow. Bairstow from right half forward. Exel on a lead and marks in front of Hughes. Great play.
Good play there, fine pass, and a perfect example there of a forward being in front. Danny Hughes, not the quickest backman off the mark, relies on jostling and bodying his player out of the way, but Exel well read there and right in front, made no mistake.
And Gary Lyon, in the meantime, not too far away from Gavin Exel, leading from the mouth and possibly the nose. And there's another fight developing in the forward pocket. Now the ball in the meantime has been kicked up to the goal square, and the mark has been taken in the square. Phoebe's got the mark, and the Melbourne player reels out of the pack, and that fight is still going. Well, we'll stay with the play. Eishold, temper's becoming a little bit fake. Beautiful tackle by Neville Bruns. The ball spills clear for Bairstow.
Free kick back to Newport. It's centre-half back for Melbourne.
The umpires would want to get right onto this early.
Well, they're not worried, Peter. The players have got to sort it out themselves. The umpires have gone nowhere near it, but Gary Lyons certainly letting Gary Ablett know what's going on.
Wonder why.
Quite right, Ian. The umpires let the play go. The runners are sorted out, as has the emergency umpire.
Maybe some numbers taken. Maybe there'll be some viewing at VFL House on Monday. Now Grinter. Beautiful kick distance-wise up towards the right half forward flank. Unfortunately for Melbourne, we can't find another player. That's the emergency umpire. Now I don't know whether he's got a notebook handy. We'll find out later on. And the man on the receiving end, Gary Lyon, I think he's okay. I hope so. As Ross said, one of the fairest players in the business. Beveridge fumbles at the crucial moment, allows Bruns in. And that was an excellent smother effected by Earl Spalding.
One of the write-ups during the week, it was mentioned by one critic that Gary Lyon is the only effective forward that Melbourne have. I think Earl Spalding's been their best so far.
Yeah, I spoke to John Northey about Lyon yesterday, and he looks much better on the forward line. Ablett. John said he'd like to have two. One on the back line, one on the forward line. Here's Stretch. He's handled the wet conditions magnificently today. High tackle. Stephen Stretch will take the free kick on right centre wing.
Perhaps a chance there, Ross, where the advantage could have been taken, because it was a good kick off the ground by Steins.
Certainly was, yes.
So Stretch has the football. Defensive side of centre wing. Really doesn't take advantage of the man on the mark who was 10 metres further down. No mark taken. Melbourne players scrambling hard, and the umpire will come in and ball it up. Atrocious conditions, but I believe they were probably twice as bad here last Saturday and even Monday. Chance for Tingay to kick it off the ground. Here's a chance for Grinter. He's well pinned. Great tackle. Now a chance for Geelong to get clear. Kick by Boss. Been marked by Melachellis. Melachellis plays on. The kick ineffective. Good gather there by Phoebe. And his kick out wide. Ablett can't mark. Eyeschol. Hand pass off the Stretch. Demons up towards half forward. That's the closest to being. What a magnificent mark by Spalding.
Fantastic mark there. Eyes on the ball the whole way with those long gangly arms. And that's why I believe he's their best forward thus far this season. He's also their leading goal kicker and a chance to convert here.
The Spalding, Ross, is going to need to kick this ball about 45 metres.
Difficult. It will be difficult for him. He's not a long kick off the football, and particularly in these conditions with that awkward style of his. Let's see what he can do.
Spalding's kick into the square, not going to get the distance, no mark taken. It goes over the back and through for the Demons' first score, and we've played nearly 18 minutes of the first quarter. So Geelong defence is standing up pretty well. And on the other hand, Melbourne haven't done too bad. The Cats' only goal has been a kick off the ground by Gavin Exel. So Darcy will kick the ball back into play for the Cats.
And that you'd suggest a winning score today would be about 8 or 9 goals. It may prove to be the case. Steins knocks the ball down. Tingay, not an effective hand pass.
Stretch was tackled, Peter, but he didn't have the ball. He gets the free kick.
Now, he is a better kick than Spalding. He hasn't gone for the long shot, and he's found Phoebe. No, it's not, it's Eyeschol. He's chipped it in short, and that's effective. Now is Gary Lyon playing on the forward line already. As I mentioned earlier, some Melbourne supporters, friends of mine, thought that Gary looked much better on the forward line, and you can see the battle-scarred warrior already. He's a great kick, Gary Lyon. I don't think he'll get it from there today, though. He doesn't. Cats defence with a couple of big fists work it away. Hocking sockers it off the ground. He'll be able to do it again. Will he pick it up? After a good shepherd. Campbell goes the punch. White does likewise to get it out of bounds. Could have almost been construed as deliberate. Cat supporters obviously thought so. Out of bounds, centre wing. Only one goal scored so far. Flanagan and Steins. Won by Flanagan. No one gets anywhere. It's a free kick to Melbourne.
Holding the ball, the umpire said, Peter.
Going to Steve Newport, and it's against Couch. Newport's kick to left half forward. The flyer was Hout. Couldn't take the mark. I think that's Darcy. Flicked out to Hout. That is a very heavy part of the ground. That's the practice wicket area. All booted up towards left half forward. That came from the boot of, I think it was Tingay. One of the younger demons who last week against Hawthorn played so well. It was the younger brigade that probably won them that match. Knocked down by Dwyer. Not a direct shot really. Ball kicked up the Steins it was. That was kicked by Michael Schultz. And Gary Ablett, not the most popular player on the ground.
The crowd was looking for 50 metres there, Peter.
The short one is on. Stephen Stretch, probably the best player on the ground so far, has marked. He's got a spot of green in front of him. Let's see if he can get some distance with this kick. He can. Beautiful kick. Because he got firm footing. Into the square, and it nearly bounces through for a goal, but 1 point to the Demons. Kicked by Stephen Stretch. Burke and O'Dwyer, who of course tangled at VFL Park in that infamous bounce down. Conditions just a little bit different today. 2 points to 8 points.
You get the impression that Damien Burke's fired up. The kick in by Darcy covers 45 up towards that 50-metre line. Kick out by Couch is a really good kick, over 40 metres. Kick off the ground by Stoneham is good, intelligent play. Geelong 2-1. Scott's kick off the ground gathers 5, and now it goes over for a boundary throw-in about 60 metres around from the Geelong goal. And the Cats worked it out of their defence pretty well there. I believe the doctor's been out to Stephen Stretch. Doesn't look as though he's been affected at all by anything. Stretch playing very, very well. Ball comes down to Gary Hocking. He can't break clear. Johnson, the Melbourne player, doing the smothering. Now Buse hard up against the boundary line. Hand pass off to Stoneham. In towards centre half back. Mark to Lyon. His quick kick intercepted by Boss. Boss's high ball towards centre half forward. Over Lovett's head. Linda bumps him off the football. Kick off the ground by White is wide. Steve Hocking gets the hand pass out in the direction of Bairstow. Bairstow's kick really ineffective. Goes across the ground. Gathered by Scott. Good tackle, Lovett. Gathered by Hocking, but the free kick has been paid to the Melbourne player Lovett for a very good tackle.
Good tackle, but it should have been play on. If the ball, the action of the ball causes the ball to drop, it's play on. Let the ball go on.
Lovett at left half-back flank for Melbourne. 4.5 minutes left in the first quarter. Been a pretty interesting one, even though the scoring has been low. Newport. His kick is smothered. Bairstow likewise can't get clear. It's out of bounds. A lot of the play in the opening term has been on that outer side. Crowd today not as big as Monday's, but excellent nonetheless. Knocked down by Couch actually, and picked up by Morgan. Or is it Gary Hocking? It's Gary Hocking. Now marked to Darren Flanagan. Flanagan still at right half forward. Tried for the spiral punt, didn't get onto it. Oh, excellent mark taken by Linda, who started the season in the twos. He took a while to regain form, at least in the eyes of the coach and the match committee at Gardenia Park. Bruce Linda within sight of the VFL 50 and within sight of goal here today. Is that Geelong second, or is it a behind? It's the latter. So 1-3, the Cats score moves along to Melbourne yet to score a goal. 3.5 minutes left in the first quarter.
Kicking in to be done by Danny Hughes. He goes to the outer side and covers good distance, but there's a good mark taken by a player who I think has been very, very good for Geelong this year.
Very much improved.
Gary Hocking, hasn't he? Very much so, Peter.
Howard off the ground, Brian Wilson on for Melbourne.
Gary Hocking's kick up towards the forward pocket, punched away by Sean White close to the line. Now it's taken over by Greg Healy, and we'll have a boundary throw in about 25 to 30 metres around from the Geelong goal. Brian Wilson up at full forward, opposed by Tim Darcy. A free kick being picked out of that ruck contest, and it will go to Steins for the Demons. 1-3, plays two behinds. Melbourne finding it difficult up on that forward line. Kick out wide to the wing. Good gather by Healy. Magnificent smother. Gary Hocking caught with the football. Play on. Pick up is by Stephen Hocking. Back it goes to Bairstow. Bairstow's kick towards half forward. No mark taken. Free kick being picked out of it. A push.
Going to Ablett.
Go to Ablett.
Oh, that's tricky. It really is.
So Ablett, not the number one player on the ground from Melbourne supporters' point of view. Kick towards half forward, all players overrun it. Scott, chance for Couch, interception Hughes, kick off the ground by Newport, chance for Boss. Boss a little slow, but he gets his kick away towards full forward. And is that a mark? No. Exel has it again, gets the hand pass out. Couch's kick up towards full forward, and it's wide over the boundary line. We'll have a throw in 15 metres around from the Geelong goal.
Good recover there from Gavin Exel there to go for the mark first. He fall to ground and get up very quickly.
Cat's left forward pocket. Under 2 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Ablett's kick smothered. White off the ground. Goes for the boundary line and effects that manoeuvre successfully. And it'll be thrown in about a couple of metres further around. Dummy had the mad stare of a half-back flanker. Steins handled the wet conditions at Princes Park last week excellently. Off the ground from Campbell. An ineffective kick really. Steve Hocking can't get clear. And it'll be balled up about 35 metres directly out from the Geelong goal. Just over a minute now remaining in the quarter. Bright sunshine. Muddy ground. Strange conditions. Tingay's kick. To no one in particular. Is that Darcy or Schultz? It's Schultz. Now the hand pass comes out to Buse. Buse at right half forward, well shepherded by Hocking. Gets his kick in. Johnson missed the mark. Chance for Scott. Hughes. Long hand pass. Lovett onto White. On the defensive 50-metre line. Tries to find Spalding with the kick. Too long for him. Spalding goes for the boundary line. Bairstow is closest there. Wilson gets around him. And the ball booted away. Might have been by, was it Darcy? His numbers covered up. I hope he gets a new jumper at quarter time. Out of bounds on the full. Stephen Stretch, who's had a bundle of kicks in the opening term, boots it back to centre wing.
Kick up towards the half forward area. Just seconds left. The kick back goes over the line on the full again.
Earl Spalding is in trouble on the half forward line for Melbourne, Ian.
Stretch takes the free kick. He kicks it into the centre, but this could be probably the last kick of the quarter. Johnson thumps it towards centre half forward for Melbourne as the siren sounds to end an entertaining first quarter. Very low scores, 1 goal 3-9 Geelong, and Melbourne 2 behinds. Close to Gary Ablett. If you get a chance, maybe it's Zantuck, a lively customer.
Certainly was.
We'll await developments as we begin the second quarter. Geelong leading by 7 points, having scored the only goal so far. That was kicked by Gavin Exel off the ground from the square. Burke had a fresh air shot. We won't be seeing those at the US Open when our telecast resumes tomorrow. And the umpire has found a free kick. And it's going to Neville Bruns. I saw nearly 20 free kicks played in the first quarter. Quite a few. Bruns. And towards half forward, Sean White takes the mark. In front of Bruce Linder. New ball being used. Stretch, who had 10 possessions in the first term, 8 kicks and 2 hand passes. Let's go down to Michael Roberts on the boundary line.
Yes, Tony Campbell was in the hands of the trainers at quarter time, damaged his right hand in one of the scuffles out here.
And there were quite a few, weren't there, Michael? Another one almost developing there. No, not a scuffle really, but it's going to be a ball up right in the practice wicket area on the outer side. Hocking gets it onto Couch. Back to Burke. Good tackle by O'Dwyer. The big Geelong ruckman drops it. Good tackle by Grinter on Hocking. And it's going to be a free kick to Lovett. That was touched off the boot. Eichhold subsequently goes for the knock-on. Buse can't pick the ball up. Chance for Spalding. Now it's ultimately Grinter. Fires out a long hand pass. Healy, who had a very quiet first quarter, gets it and turned to Newport. Boss can't handle the ball. Could have almost got a free kick there. There's a chance for Spalding. It's got a long kick of the football and not an accurate one, it seems, either. That's out of bounds on the full, and the free kick left back pocket will go to Darren Flanagan.
So Flanagan's kick in towards half back. Good punch away by Greg Healy over Buse, and we'll have a boundary throw in. The play is about 45 metres around from the Melbourne goal, and the Demons really struggling up forward. The Geelong defence playing pretty tight football. Ball comes down to Couch. He's caught by Wilson. And a little too high, says the umpire, so the free kick will go to the Geelong player. Paul Couch had 6 kicks and 3 hand passes in the first term. Nice drop punt out towards the wing. Punch away by O'Dwyer. Ablett's in the play. Pushed off the ball by Lovett. Chance now for Couch again. He gets through pretty easily. Handballs it wide to Buse. Buse kicked from a standing start looking for Stoneham. Punch away by Campbell. Gary Hocking. A little flip out looking for Bruns. Scott intercepts. Johnson picked up by Eishold. Kick wide. Good bump by Wilson. Helped out brilliantly by Lyon. What a great recovery by Gary Lyon. Kick up towards full forward. Flanagan's there for Geelong. No one really wanted to contest the issue. Flanagan's kick is wide. Kick off the ground by Grinter is good play. Grinter up towards the 50-metre line. A poor kick. Wilson swoops on it. He holds on to the Geelong play. Didn't have the football. Kick there by Melbourne up towards the full forward line. And it scrambles through for a behind. The kick coming from Greg Healy.
Good example there, Ian, of players rushing the ball. They can just steady, hold their footing. They won't run over the ball as much.
Scrambled through, I think, was the best way to describe it, Ian. So still just the 1 goal scored in the match to date. Early in the second quarter. Dwyer in the middle of 2 Geelong players. Grinter again. Down towards Beveridge. They kicked a beautiful goal last week. Off the hands of Darcy. Wilson actually was looking for a free kick. I thought it was not off the hands, but off the knees. 1-3 to 3 behinds. Steins and Flanagan. Hughes. Hemmed in. Didn't have anywhere to go, really. Might get a second chance because he was held but not in possession.
Made sure the umpire saw that one, Peter.
He did, didn't he? He used to take the free kick from the back pocket. A position very familiar to him. One state selection there. Burke comes down with the ball. Kick predictably would drop short. Stoneham, strong grab. Named in the Victorian squad to play South Australia. Clean bowls his little red-headed mate, Bairstow. Did he get one in the back? He did, says the umpire.
A good example there of why skilled players still are very necessary in these sorts of conditions. Picked that ball up with one hand, steadied, was about to kick, and was free kick from behind for over the shoulder. A lot of contention whether you play more skilled players or the more dogged, persistent type. You certainly need skilled players in these conditions.
A couple of the others would help too, I guess, Ross, wouldn't it?
Yes, certainly.
Malakalis on his own, and the kick dropping short.
Lucks of fortune too, Pete, off the side of the boot, but Malakalis in front, no one picking him up. The Melbourne player holding his head, I think it's Alan Johnson, and quite rightly so.
There it is, off the side of the boot, as Ross mentioned. Malakalis on his own.
Alan Johnson way back.
25 metres out, shoots, and goals. Geelong second.
Well, Spiro Malakalis has been a good find for Geelong, playing his 6th game for the season. Debuted this year for Geelong, and he's complimented Andrew Buse on the ball very well. And having kicked that goal, he's now going onto the ball for a run. He's given them an extra target, an extra avenue up that forward line, and has been very competitive. As we see the kick off the side of the boot, Malakalis in front.
Didn't have much to really get on there with the feet. Found some firm footing, got a goal. 2-3 to 3 behinds. Geelong doing it well so far. That's a pretty handy lead. Malakalis again loses out to Phoebe.
Phoebe's kick out wide. Beveridge and Morgan. Morgan overruns it. Bairstow's there. His kick intercepted by Beveridge. And he gets the third option off to Eishold. Hand pass to Greg Healy. He's something mounting for the Demons. Greg Healy inside 50. Goes for goal and misses to the right.
That's bad luck for Melbourne. Greg Healy doing all the work there. Earl Sporting setting him up. Healy having done the hard work initially, and just tiring as he got through that boggy area down there in the forward line as he kicked that ball.
Tim Darcy kicked the ball back in for the Cats. Over the 50-metre line. Punch away. Steins, a short kick. Looking for Grinter. Kick out by Couch. Back in towards the centre. Great gather by Scott. Hand pass off to Bairstow. Champagne football by the Cats. Through the centre. Overrun by 2 players. Kicked off the ground by Sean White. Another kick off the ground by that player, and it just bounces inside the field of play. so we'll have a boundary throw in. Geelong bench appealing for a free kick.
Shades of Croke Park there in Ireland.
Boundary throw in, comes down to Gary Hocking, off to Scott, held it just long enough to get the hand pass away to Buse. Good play by Buse up towards half forward, gathered by Sean White, sweeping hand pass wide to the boundary line, and Lovett will allow it to go over for another boundary throw in. About 75 metres around from the Geelong goal, and the Cats lead by 11 points.
Handy lead under these circumstances, isn't it? Knocked away by Stretch, who had a brilliant first quarter. He got 9 kicks. Scott tries to find Malakaris with the hand pass. Hocking tried to soccer it off the ground. The ball hustled away by Ablett. That's out of bounds on the full. Ablett not the most popular player here in front of the MCG member stand. Johnson. Kick to centre wing. Hocking. Grab. Was it too high? I don't think so. Malakaris. Good block by Aishold, prevented him from getting out of the mud. Hocking gets flung out of it.
Yeah, well, he's still got the football, Peter. I wonder what you have to do to get a free kick for pinning a player.
There's mud in your eye.
Equally as good a tackle as pinning the player's arms, Ian, isn't it?
Look at Aishold. Goodness me. Whoops. There's a free kick. Against Malakaris. If Aishold can see where he's kicking, he can. Stein's in front, knocked down by Lyon. There's Hocking again. Can't get it clear. Picked up by Lyon. Morgan. Spalding's tackle late. Mark taken by Bairstow at midfield. Some of the firmer footing out there. That area was covered by the canvas. Excellent, but he get one in the back. Picked up by Buse. Snapshot is excellent. It's a goal. Great play.
Well, that's a terrific goal to Andrew Buse. He displayed his great skill about 2 minutes ago on the boundary line, where he evaded a couple of players with a good dummy turn. Great strength in his legs and upper body there, Andrew Buse, and great agility as well, and a fine left foot goal there. And that really is an important goal for Geelong, with Greg Healy missing an equally good opportunity earlier on. That just gives them a very good break in this second quarter.
Buse's first goal, Geelong's third, 3-3 to 4 points.
Back in the centre, Melbourne get the ball up towards half forward. Greg Healy, kick off the ground up towards full forward. Out comes the lumbering O'Dwyer. Can't quite gather the football. Comes out the back, Wilson. Boss gets it out. Morgan, the free kick being picked out of it. It's going against Boss for a throw, and the free kick will be taken by Brian Wilson by the look of it.
Or Greg Healy. Brian Wilson, correct, yep.
Is he too far out to score, Ross? Do you think it's very, very difficult? That is going to Greg Healy.
Yes, it is. Well, it's interesting, and that's the area where it's going to be a line ball decision. It's about 30 metres with that heavy ball and heavy underfoot. Greg Healy not a long kick of the football, so might just land in the square.
So Greg Healy, the Melbourne captain, if ever the Demons need a goal, looking down the barrel at the moment. Healy's drop punt kick. He's off to the right, and he kicks his third behind for the match.
This stage last week, I think he kicked about 3 goals.
It's a pity. It's a second opportunity that Greg Healy, the Melbourne captain's had to give his team some more momentum there.
That's why I hit the Geelong runner.
I think he just ran into him. I don't think he saw him. But, now the umpire's ticking him off. If only they saw what happened.
Darcy. Funny things happen in the mud. Big drop short. Mark taken by Schultz. Schultz from the left half-back flank tries the spiral punt. It actually turned out to be one, but Flanagan dropped in as it fell short onto Morgan. Oh, Stretch got well underneath it. Hocking. Bad tackle by Newport. Hocking finally gets rid of the ball.
Holding the ball, the umpire says.
And who's going to get the free kick, because there were a couple of tackles applied there. Going to be Phoebe, who against Hawthorn in the mud last week played very good football, especially in the first quarter. Knocked away by Steins, picked up by, was it Aishold? Out of bounds.
And John Northey's allowed Gary Lyon into the forward line. He's brought Sean White on to Gary Ablett. Good move.
And Jackson coming on.
Beveridge off.
Steins and Burke. Not Burke, but Flanagan, who won it down. Bruns' kick, very short. Arshold. High bomb, inside 50, and the mark taken by Hocking. Well, he's lost a few metres here. Gets it back to Schultz. Steins, good punch away. Onto Healy, who tried to soccer it off the ground. Picked up by Hocking. And the catch through Couch. Get clear, strong mark. It's taken by Stoneham. Stoneham just short of the left centre wing. Beautiful kick, like Gary Lyons last week at Princes Park, but Hocking read that beautifully. Tries for Ablett, who's been pretty quiet so far. Now Johnson hooks the ball across his body. 2-on-1 in favour of Geelong, almost marked by Steins actually. Healy, grab, wasn't high, and Melbourne supporters thought so. Bruns gathers in beautifully, very quickly getting boot to ball on that left foot. Steins and Ablett. Ball shuffled out to Scott, who was grabbed but not in possession. Umpire says it was a throw.
Definitely a throw. And the free kick will be taken
And 50 metres in.
for Melbourne by Newport. Didn't quite see what it was for, Ross. Perhaps the ball not getting back to the player quickly
and the
enough.
player wouldn't get on the mark quickly enough.
So Newport, with the advantage of the 50-metre penalty, comes up close to the centre circle and will put the Demons into attack. Up towards half forward, no mark taken. Chance for Lyon off to Steins. Steins kick around the corner. Jackson's there. A real struggle for possession. Comes out the back, Spalding. Bumped off the ball was Lovett. And the kick goes over the boundary line. We'll have a throw in. It's about 75 metres around from the Melbourne goal, and a very concerned Melbourne coaching staff there. John Northey and Bluey Adams. Greg Healy bumped off the football. Punch away by Flanagan. Gather by Bairstow. Helped out by Bruns. Bruns' kick. And there's a good mark.
Oh, you've got to
Not
play that.
paid.
You've got to play that.
Why don't you play that?
Gee whiz.
Great effort by Phoebe. And the youngster looks a little disappointed. Umpire Carey will come in and ball it up.
Mark for mine. Certainly under these conditions. I think he could feel a little bit robbed there. Stoneham. His kick is short. Two Melbourne players miss it, and the ball eludes both of them to go out of bounds about a couple of metres from the behind post.
And Gavin Axel there should have attacked that ball more ferociously, waited for the easy kick over the top. And Alan Johnson defending very well.
Steins with Flanagan. Flanagan wins it, can't find the rover. There's Ablett. Was that out of bounds? No. The kick is effective, and it's punched off the hands by Campbell in the main, through for one behind. Ablett has had a pretty quiet day so far. 4 kicks. Stretch, who had a brilliant first quarter, finds Campbell just up from the back pocket. Campbell's kick, albeit short, is nonetheless effective. Spalding's kick downfield. In fact, the free kick was played downfield by the umpire, as well as the advantage. Newport's there, suckers the ball towards the boundary line. It's not out on the full, and it will be thrown in at left half forward flank for Melbourne.
Great play there from Campbell, Spalding and Lyon, all kicking on their wrong foot around the corner, still found their teammate.
Can the Demons get a goal before half time? Knocked down by Burke. Arshold's kick ineffective. Good tackle. Malakalis gets the hand pass out to Morgan. Steins tries some soccer tactics. Flanagan's hand pass onto Bruns in the mud patch, just one of them. Out comes Couch. Not a bad kick under these conditions. Down the half forward. Oh, just about mark of the day. Splendid grab to Ablett.
I believe Paul Couch really this season has been one of 2 catalysts for the Geelong side. The other player being Barry Stoneham. They really do work very hard. Paul Couch through the centre, and Stoneham at centre half forward and on the ball.
Can Ablett get some good footing from where he is at the moment? I'd say no. So I wouldn't like his chances. I think he's made a liar of me. It's a goal.
Well, that's an intelligent kick there from Gary Ablett, using a That's a Peter Hudson-style punt kick.
Well, flat punt.
They are effective in these conditions. A drop punt generally does drop short. That flat punt just has a bit more momentum and just kept floating through. But the mark initially a very strong one. Ablett and White having good contests in the past. In previous matches when it was a little drier, both taking spectacular marks.
Six possessions to Gary Ablett. One mark and now one goal out of the Cats' tally of 4-4. The Demons yet to score a major 10.25 minutes left in the second term.
A real struggle for Melbourne. Back in the centre, Jimmy Steins. Attempted kick off the ground, doesn't go all that far. And Bruns comes out with the football. We'll have another ball up. Paul Couch. 10 kicks and 4 hand passes so far. Very productive around that centre. Pretty good right there by the look of it, the conditions. Kick by Scott up towards half forward, nearly a mark to Hocking. That's Gary Hocking. Has the football underneath him, can't quite get it out. Umpire sees it as a fair attempt to move the ball on, so he'll come in and ball it up at centre half forward for Geelong. 4-4 plays, 5 behinds. Steins and Flanagan. Flanagan with superior strength. Bruns can't get the ball out. Gary Hocking struggling hard. And with 9.5 minutes left in the term, we'll have another ball up at centre half forward. It really is a bog just there. And it's the same at the opposite. It's the same at the opposite end of the ground. Well, actually, the wings don't look all that bad. The ground hasn't come up too bad. Steins' palm out is good. Punch out. Bairstow. Hand pass a little too fierce. Gathered by Lindner back to Bairstow. Bairstow's kick around the corner. Chance now for Jackson. Keeps his footing well and gets the hand pass back to Stretch. Stretch's kick is good and finds Grinter at half forward. Grinter kicks it on, looking for Wilson. Wilson attempted kick off the ground. It's at half forward for Melbourne. Morgan will come clear. Can't control the football. Slips out of his hand and will have a boundary throw in. Left half forward for the Demons. And it looks like Danny Hughes might be up at full forward. Free kick being picked out of the ruck contest. It'll go to Burke for Geelong. Yes, jostling tactics by both players. Really is a line ball in my opinion. Burke's kick out wide, picked up by Phoebe, back towards half forward, and the mark has been taken there for Melbourne by Healy. Healy looking to play on, kick in towards the pocket. Hughes can't gather the football, tries a palm out towards Eishold. Here's Couch again, finds space, off to Morgan, back to Couch, great football Cats, and Couch gets Geelong out of trouble. His kick off the side has been marked by Newport in the centre.
Steve Newport,
50 metres.
50-metre penalty, yes, Ross. I guess for an encroachment over the mark, it still won't bring him to within kicking distance. He probably would have preferred to kick in the centre square itself, where the footing is firmer, because that was the area covered. So a short pass, I guess intended for O'Dwyer, couldn't quite grab it. Flanagan bumped off the ball. Good tackle by Hughes. Out it comes to Schultz. Good tackle by Jackson. No reward for it. Eishold went too far for Healy. He tries to get the hand pass out. Did so effectively. In goes Malakaris, and it will be a ball up about 25 to 30 metres out from the goal. 5 plays, 28. Runs off the ground, but only succeeds in almost kicking it straight to Danny Hughes. Socket further afield to Steins. Wasn't quick enough to get a boot to ball. Ineffective hand pass. Eishold tries to shovel it out the back. And it'll be a ball up.
But you mentioned that move of Danny Hughes to centre half forward. All Sporting's gone to centre half back on Barry Stoneham, and Tony Campbell full back on Gavin Exel.
Well, innovative moves, and I guess that's the hallmark of the coaching of Blight at Northey these days. Steins, it's like a game of rugby union out there. Another ball up. Some furrowed brows in the coach's box as the Demons try to come to grips with the Cats and the conditions. And again we'll see a ball up. And in the last minute of play it hasn't moved more than about 3 metres.
It's terrible there, isn't it, the conditions?
The goal line's bad. As you said, Ian, the wings aren't as badly affected. Good punch away by Hughes. Jackson shovels out the hand pass. Eichel, I think, thought about kicking that off the ground. Healy, is that there first? It looks okay, it is.
Well done, Greg Healy. Made a mention of those two early misses, which were crucial ones, really. He was under a lot of pressure on that time. Desperate to get that goal on the board for his team. Did so very well out of that congestion. Good contest here from Ricky Jackson. Got the ball out quickly. Eichel just knocking the ball on here. And well done by Greg Healy.
So Healy bringing up the first goal for Melbourne, a badly needed one. It's back into the centre. 5 3/4 minutes left in the second quarter. 17 points the difference. Hocking puts Geelong back into attack up to half forward.
Hocking's high kick, no mark taken. Scott can't break clear. Lindner, Shaw hands, left foot kick towards full forward, and there's a good mark. Should be paid. No, play on. Campbell forced the handball wide. Now Johnson has Stretch to help him out. Stretch's kick, looking for a player further afield. Darcy out in front of the youngster Tingay. Lovett comes in and helps out. Lovett's kick up towards centre half forward. Jackson can't quite gather the ball. Now he gets the hand pass off to Lyon. Lyon's short kick. Oh, just getting in the road was Newport. Now the Cats go back into attack. It's Couch up towards centre half forward. The ball just sits. Bruns bumped off it. Spalding there for Melbourne. And no one can really do much with that. So the umpire will come in and ball it up. Player coming off the ground for Geelong is Flanagan.
Looks pretty proppy, doesn't he?
Burke gets the ball down. Campbell kicks it away for Melbourne towards the wing. No mark taken. Melbourne have the free ball. Lovett up towards centre half forward. Jackson can't mark. Pushed in the back by Morgan, surely. Oh, hold it. Oh, I don't believe it. A deep set push in the back against Morgan. The free kick goes to the Geelong player and he clears out wide to Couch.
Flanagan off the ground, Bill Brownless on, and Barry Stoner to fall back on Steve O'Dwyer.
And Darren Flanagan looking very proppy as he walks around the boundary line. Paul Couch from right half back. Kick dropping a little bit short, thumped away by Burke, picked up by Exel. What's he doing on the centre wing? Views. And Stephen Hocking, as he has been just about all day, on the bottom of the pack. Gary Hocking. Stephen Hocking, of course, number one. Gary Hocking, I meant. And that's on the shoulder to Burke, but nothing for it. Picked up by Buse again. Did well to get a boot to ball. Phoebe's kick down towards the left half forward flank for Melbourne. On the mark, is it the Ricky Jackson? Yes, it is. Jackson short of left half forward. Started on the bench today for the Demons, as he did against Hawthorn last week at Princes Park. He came on then and kicked a pretty early goal. He hasn't been in the play that much today. It goes out of bounds just past the 45-metre line in front of Mark Boss. 17 points the difference. We've got 3 minutes and a bit left in the second quarter. Couch again gets around Hocking. Quick kick up towards Boss again. Now it's Brownless just come onto the ground, the cleanest player out there. Buse. Good tackle, Spalding. The ball spills free. Picked up by Buse again. Bobs it high towards half forward. The flyer was Johnson. Socket away by Ablett. Into the pocket. Some soccer tactics again. Did well to keep it in. Onto Malakalis. Gets tackled well by Stretch. Ablett. Did he keep the ball in play? Johnson. Scott. Will he get a shot at goal? Well done from Scott. Snaps. Great goal if it's there. It's true.
Well, that's a great goal from Robert Scott. There was a handball on there. A good play from Gary Ablett around the boundary line. Two Sockers on that area with the contest coming from Grinter and White, and got the ball right up towards that square area. You see the Socker coming from that boundary line. The ball nearly rolling through. Scott having one attempt to Socker, got up very quickly. There was a handball on here. Elected not to. Got around the players and showed why he's one of the leading goal kickers for Geelong.
So the Cats, close to half-time, have a 23-point advantage. Melbourne up towards half forward. No mark to Morgan. Here comes Darcy. Jackson, the Melbourne player, doing the tackling, but it comes clear for the Cats. It's Morgan. Out wide. Exel drops a sitter. Well, are they sitters? This slippery ball, very difficult. Campbell kick off the ground. Goes after it again. Tony Campbell around the corner. Mark 2, Brian Wilson. Came onto the ground in the first quarter. It's his first real touch. A shocker. Intercepted by Morgan. Hand pass to Exel. Exel's kick towards the wing. Newport's underneath it. Can't mark. Bairstow there for Geelong.
Free kick in.
And the free kick will go to Newport. Crude attempt to spoil by Bairstow.
It was a better, and Stephen Newport's got a big job on Bairstow. Bairstow's certainly having the better of it so far.
So Newport, 15 possessions to Bairstow. Newport, 12 possessions. Up towards half forward. Picked off the pack by Buse. Kick high towards the wing. 3 Melbourne players go up. At the back, Phoebe. Great interception by Bairstow. Can't keep his footing. Newport doing the tackling. And Brownless comes in and picks up the football. No nonsense stuff by Geelong. Bruns takes the mark at centre half forward and thumps it up towards full forward. No one home for Geelong. Johnson takes the mark for Melbourne.
Alan Johnson finding some space in front of the member stand wing. Stephen Stretch, who had 8 or 9 kicks in the first quarter. Been a little quieter in the second, but it has been a very good player. Love it. Straight up the ground, but a badly directed kick has been marked by Schultz. Hocking to right half forward. Phoebe in front. Good tackle by Johnson. Umpire rules it as ineffective. It's going to be a ball up in one of the heaviest parts of the ground. Close to half-time. Only a few seconds remaining, so little chance of further scoring. And the Cats will go in at half-time pretty happy. Scott from Stoneham. And we'll see another ball up right on the edge of the square, or will we? No, the siren's gone to end the first half, with Geelong doing particularly well, restricting Melbourne to 1 goal. The Cats 5-4-34, leading Melbourne 1-5-11 in the match of the day. Well, the Cats again, Ian, like we saw at Princes Park on Monday, and I guess here, very heavy conditions, but Melbourne not handling them as well as they did against Hawthorn. The Cats, they've played 4 games here, they know the MCG pretty well.
Well, I think Melbourne's defence is to be given a bit of credit. I mean, 5 goals for, I suppose, in heavy conditions isn't too bad. But they've broken down up in the forward line where they perhaps really need guys like Lyon and Spalding. And they seem to be robbing Peter to pay Paul, trying to cover key defensive posts with those skilled players. Ross has mentioned that skill is very important in these difficult conditions, and Melbourne certainly need their better players up on the forward line. They've only kicked 1-5 until half-time, and they trail miserably at the long break. Geelong 5-4-34, Melbourne 1-5-11. So the second half about to start here at the MCG, and Geelong have taken all before them in the first half, 5-4, leading Melbourne only 1-5, and the Demons' solitary goal scorer, their captain, Greg Healy. Here we go. A big quarter for the Demons. The third term all important. Steins and Burke. A big crash by 2 huge men, and the free kick has been awarded to Steins. So Melbourne first into attack in this third quarter. Steins kick towards centre half forward. No mark taken. Coming away with the ball, Steve Hocking. Gets it off to Boss. Boss's kick up towards half forward, and there's a mark there, not paid. Spalding, play on. Phoebe gets the kick away for Melbourne, straight across the ground. Chance now for Wilson. Just shrugs the tackle, gets the hand pass away to Grinter. Grinter in the centre. Left foot kick is okay, up towards centre half forward. No mark taken. Attempted kick off the ground by Greg Healy. Beveridge in there for Melbourne, and the umpire will come in and ball it up. It's at centre half forward, about 40 metres from the Melbourne goal.
So Dwyer's on the bench for Melbourne, and John Howard back on the ground at full forward.
Darcy's kick towards centre half back. No one can mark the football there. A kick off the ground by Steins. Again, Geelong will come clear. It's Couch in towards the centre. Bairstow. Look at these running players for Geelong. Scott towards centre half forward. Brilliant gather by Malakalis. The tackle by Johnson okay. Ball spills free. Stoneham's kick towards full forward. Exel can't quite control it, and his left foot just kicks the ball over the boundary line. We'll have a throw in about 40 metres from the Geelong goal.
And Andrew Rogers on the ground for Geelong, with Bill Brownless starting off on the bench again.
45 metres from the Geelong goal, the ruckman. Steins held by Burke. Burke gets the tap out, but the umpire saw the interference, and the free kick will go to the Melbourne big man, Jim Steins. Steins in the back pocket, kicks it in towards the centre, but intercepting well is Stoneham, and he'll take the mark and kick the Cats into attack.
Barry Stoneham still inside the centre square. Ablett chips in beautifully to mark. Now lose the crowd noise out of this headset, please.
And that flat punch is carrying a little further, going over the head of Tony Campbell, and Gary Ablett taking what was an easier mark with that ball being slightly dry in this early part of the third quarter.
So Ablett, a chance to put Geelong further ahead. Not a dry day at point-blank range. Today, a question mark. The kick looks accurate. The goal umpire moves in and indicates full points, Ablett second.
Yes, Gary Ablett kicking a goal in that second quarter. That's his first goal in this quarter. Obviously, such an early start of the game, but a very important one for Geelong, having led at 23 points at half-time. A very good lead in these conditions. The replay there shows Gary Ablett getting good distance with that kick, the ball being slightly lighter, yet to get heavier or will get heavy, should I say, as this quarter goes on.
It's just a goal that Melbourne didn't want at the start of the third quarter. 22-20 left in the second term, 40 plays 11, and one would even suggest perhaps at this early stage that could be a match-winning lead to Geelong. Cats go forward again. That was driven up for them by Boss, picked up now by Linder. That's a beautiful kick with the new ball, but out of bounds on the full. Just a little bit too far. Eddie Hughes to take the free kick. Hughes boots the ball back into play. Knock away by Bairstow, or attempted touch, picked up by Linder again. He's given it to Couch, who was a good player in the first quarter, very productive. Left footed, drops a little bit short. Ablett again, off the ground. Is that a goal, or was it touched? One behind.
Bit of a push there, Peter. I would think the umpire missing it.
Was it a mark? 6-5 to 1-5. So the Demon defence already under a bit of pressure in the third quarter as Hughes brings the ball back into play again.
Hughes kicks the ball wide to half-back. Stretch can't control it. Steins gets the handball off. Stretch again in there. Johnson held just a little high, and Bairstow, I feel you're a little stiff. Johnson's kick wide. Clean bowls Wilson. At the back, Eichel. Hand pass over the top. Spalding's run on well, and Spalding from centre half forward kicks it in towards the forward pocket. Coming out well is Jackson. Hand pass is good. Howard. High kick by Howard across the face of goal, and Bairstow, Boss rather, just sees that ball safely over the boundary line.
Rodney Grinner picking up Bruce Lindner for Geelong, and Tony Campbell with Gary Ablett.
Schultz doing the ruck work, high over the top. Boss is caught with the football. Flipping it out wide for Geelong was Rogers, and we'll have another boundary throw in.
Brian Wilson into the centre on Paul Couch. Paul Couch has been a fine player in that first half.
Yes, he certainly has, with 15 kicks and 5 hand passes. He's got a chance here to get into the action again, but Rogers beats him to it. Rogers started on the bench, so that's effectively one of his first touches. Bruns, the veteran of the Geelong side, up towards half forward. Ablett starting to cut loose in the third quarter. That could spell danger for Melbourne, and they're already looking down the barrel. Now Ablett, dry footing underneath there. Gets plenty of distance with the kick. Scott has it knocked away. Not very far, though, by Phoebe. Bairstow looks for a hand pass. Back to Couch. Left foot snapshot. Will go close. Not close enough. One behind.
Brian Wilson's really got to pick up Paul Couch there. He's managed to get free many times today. They must man up.
Eddie Hughes waiting for the ball, which seems to have disappeared. There it is, sir. Straight down the ground by the Demon defender. Spalding in front. The leap was from, Linder? And Hocking again on the bottom of the pack. Gary Hocking. He seems to have done that a lot today. Right on the edge of the square. It's going to be Burke with Steins. Burke won it down. Not really that effective. It was picked up by, Stephen Hocking. Down towards half forward. Hughes late on the scene. Phoebe gets shuffled aside. In comes Hughes on top of Phoebe, who's the last to get up. And it will be a ball up inside the 50-metre line, but very, very heavy out there.
Burke doing pretty well. Steins gets a tap out. Buse onto Scott. Chance for Geelong. It's right in front of their goals. A kick off the ground, hard up against the line. Did Scott keep it in? No, says the boundary umpire, who was pretty close to the action. So we'll have a boundary throw in. Left forward pocket for Geelong. They have added to their half-time score by 1-2. There's the contest again, and both ruckmen holding on. How the umpire can find a free kick is beyond me.
Well, if he's going to pick that one, I would have given it the other way.
It's unbelievable, isn't it, Ross? The kick has landed in the arms of Couch. And Couch coming up for possession number 22. Magnificent game by the Geelong midfielder. And he really relishes the going. Paul Couch take a good kick from there. He kicks it to the front of the square. Melbourne defenders try to thump it away. Now they rush it through for a behind to the Cats.
It's a dangerous thump away from defence. They thumped it straight back into the goal square. Should have gone the other side to the pocket out of the danger zone.
Dwyer preparing to come on as Danny Hughes elects to go to the outer side on this occasion. Wide looking for Steins. Stretch. Kick high towards the wing. Morgan overruns it. Good play by Jackson. That was a throw. Obvious. And the free kick will go to Geelong to be taken by Stephen Hocking.
Hocking at midfield. Finds his kick dropping a little bit short. Straight into the arms of Steve Newport. Shovels it back. Picked up by Gary Hocking. Hocking up to half forward. A big pack of players. Buse robes it well. Free kick. And I think that's Stephen Phoebe. It is. Mudbus batted. And as a result, not a very good kick. Some pretty heavy mud underfoot. Wilson finds Eichel. Who almost finds Spalding. In fact, he does. Earl Spalding at right centre wing. That's a shocking kick. Out of bounds on the full.
Jim Steins off the ground for Melbourne. Steve O'Dwyer on.
Jim Steins looked pretty tired. He's rucked solidly. Certainly not injured. It would appear not anyway. If he is, Michael Roberts will have news. The ball back towards centre wing. Spalding almost drags down a great mark. Buse roving well today. And the ball over the boundary line underneath him as he shakes the mud from his eye. There's Steins on the bench for what is a well-earned rest, but the Demons need some goals quickly as O'Dwyer gets quickly back into the action. Knocks the ball down. Charging through for the Cats was Rogers. The ball up towards the centre wing position. Booted back whence it came. That was a throw. Surely knock on by Eichel, Rogers and Jackson. Jackson beats him to it. Gets the hand pass out. Beveridge kicked a great goal from a similar position last week against Hawthorn, and that one has landed centimetres inside the boundary line. And no luck for Luke Beveridge on that occasion. Boundary throw in right next to the behind post. It will be contested by Sean White with Schultz. Schultz wins it down to Bruns. Good tackle, Eichel. Snapshot by Newport. Smothered off the boot. Hocking applies the tackle, and it'll be a ball up again. 15.5 minutes left in the third quarter.
And Melbourne really need a lot more from Luke Beveridge and also the other smaller player, Ricky Jackson, to give them some fire, which the Geelong players are getting from their smaller players.
Well, they need a goal here. Knock away by White. Hocking can't get clear. Darcy can. His kick is not very long. In front is Burke. Knocked to the ground by O'Dwyer. Good knock on by the Geelong ruckman. Wilson, though, the Brownlow medalist of 82, gets the ball first. Hooks it back, and the mark is taken by Greg Healy. But he'll be kicking from right on 50, Ian.
You're too far out, I think, Peter. We've seen players struggle from this distance. Greg Healy, short kick. There's someone in front. Couldn't mark. Bruns. It was Howard. Now a chance for Jackson. Gets his foot to the ball, but right on the line, Gary Hocking takes it away for the Cats. His wide kick is over the line on the full. So the free kick will be taken for Melbourne by Stretch. Melbourne peppering away, but they really can't get any value for their efforts. 1-5, and we're halfway through the third quarter. Geelong 6-7. Stretch fancies himself. Nice looking kick by Stephen Stretch too to the front of the square, and it's thumped through by that strong Geelong defence for another behind to the Demons.
A good punch there from Andrew Rogers. Stephen Stretch had Newport in the middle of the ground he could have kicked to, but just waited too long, and Bruns covered that lead.
Darcy going to the outer side. Nice long kick by Tim Darcy, and a good mark taken out there by Schultz. And he's an improved player, Ross.
Reversed it, yes. Raised his elbows, he came through having taken that mark. And umpire said unnecessary, reversed the kick.
So Greg Healy will put Melbourne into attack up towards the goal square. Punched away, Bruns, striving hard, Eishold. Rugby style attempts to get it out, but to no avail. And Eishold picks himself up from a pretty muddy area right in front of the Melbourne goal.
There are plenty of those. And the Demons must make something of this. They can't. Ball was booted out of defence pretty clearly by Rogers.
Grinter pushed Lindner out of that contest, and Lindner now with the free kick. Must come back over his mark.
Grinter stands the mark, shakes his head. Lindner from centre half back goes straight down the ground. That's not a bad kick either by Bruce Lindner. Oh, Stoneham, what a great grab! Tremendous mark. Be contention for Holden mark of the round, certainly. Buse having a great day for Geelong. Johnson misread it. Ablett didn't. Ablett having a good quarter after a fairly quiet first half, apart from one incident. One behind. 13:04 left in the term. What's he kicked now, Ian?
2 goals, 1.
6-8 to 1-6. Underneath it is Beveridge. Gets the hand pass out to Phoebe. Phoebe up and turned to centre wing position. And he finds his twin, Simon Eishold. And almost marked by a spectator in the first row of the seats in front of Rogers, who will take the free kick on centre wing and put the Cats back into attack. A couple of out of bounds on the full on this side in this quarter. Well, Malakaris with a high one from Grinter. Umpire has given a free kick.
It's Greg Healy.
Spiral punt kick by the Demon captain. Ball hits the deck. Malakaris again. Lyon. A fumble down there. Gets Jackson in. Long hand pass. There's no one there except Eishold, and he was shepherded out of it. Mark Boss back up towards the edge of the square. Dwyer flew high. Couldn't grab it. Campbell goes for the long hand pass. Gary Lyon, can he get there first? He can. Well played. Not a Sean White, who marks a little bit short of the right half forward flank. He's gone in short again, and Healy marks, but he's a long way from goal, Greg Healy. Centering kick. Morgan in turn to Boss. Gee, this defence of Geelong is working well. Excellent combination today, and they've let very little pass. Now Johnson has the chance. Goes straight down the ground for Melbourne, and that's effective. The mark is taken by Stephen Stretch. Comes in for his 15th kick.
Stretch's kick in towards full forward, thumped away again by the Geelong defenders. It's kicked off the ground by Darcy close to the line. Now it's taken over by Bairstow, and we'll have a boundary throw in about 55 metres around from the Melbourne goal. 1-6 place, 6 goals 8. Tapped by O'Dwyer, intercepted by Bruns. Kick has been marked by Spalding in front of Stoneham. Spalding. Slow motion football by the Demons. 9th possession coming up for Earl Spalding. He's taken 3 marks. Kick towards half forward. Again, Morgan, constructive. Gives it off to Boss. Boss's kick into the centre. No mark to Lovett. The ball comes free. Couch nearly ran away with it, but the free kick has been picked out of it, and it's going back to the Melbourne player, Brett Lovett. Lovett's kick falls short, like they all have all day. And this time in front, taking the mark, is Beveridge. Luke Beveridge, Steve Hocking, the Geelong player on the mark, just inside 50 metres. Very difficult to get any sort of distance with the kicks. Covers 40 metres though, up towards the goal square. Bruns pushed off that football is Lindner. Bruns gets it out to Malakalis, and Malakalis with skill finds a little bit of space. His left foot kick towards half back. The mark has been taken for Melbourne by Wilson. Looking to play on Wilson. Trying to get out of that boggy area. Very, very difficult though. And Wilson now kicks it to within goal scoring distance, and White takes the mark for Melbourne. about 35, maybe a little closer, 30 metres from goal, and a real chance for the Demons.
They need this one.
Well, that'd have to be very much an understatement, Peter. I would say they've only kicked one goal, and we've just got 10 minutes left in this third quarter. It's been a struggle. White's kick, wobbly punt kick into the square, and again the Geelong defence can clear it. Boundary throw in left forward pocket for the Demons. 1-6 plays, 6-8, Geelong leading comfortably.
Fitzroy only kicked one goal last week. Melbourne having similar trouble today scoring goals. For the Geelong defence, Mark Boss gets the hand pass out to Hocking. Hocking on the run up from the back pocket. Good clearing kick under these conditions. Lands it round about centre wing. Stoneham late on the scene. Campbell applies the tackle. And umpire Peter Carey comes in to effect the ball up. Under 9 minutes remaining in the third term. Burke wins it well from O'Dwyer. Couch onto Bruns. Didn't give it to the run of Ablett, who went past him pretty quickly. Down to Lovett, a right half-back flank for Melbourne. Picked up by Scott. Good smothered by Phoebe. Onto Johnson, looking for a push in the back. I don't think he'll get one. It's a boundary throw-in. Just past the 50-metre mark. Geelong's left half-forward flank. O'Dwyer with Burke. Flanagan's off the ground. Knocked down to Phoebe. Kick smothered. Bruns. Centering kick, and the mark is taken by Bairstow, who looks for a free kick from stretch or 50 metres. There shouldn't be any there, surely. Mark Bairstow, a fairly productive afternoon for him. And not a bad kick either, but three Melbourne players are there. Stoneham late on the scene, gets it away from all three of them. Scott tries some soccer tactics off the ground, or is that being a little bit tautological? And it will be a ball up 25 metres out from the Geelong goal. Burke with O'Dwyer. I don't think there's any love lost between that pair. Hocking can't get clear, but it comes to Bruns. That was an excellent hand pass. Bruns shoots and goals. Great stuff, Cats.
Well, again, there's the value of the Geelong smaller players. Fine play there from Gary Hocking, getting the ball over to Hughes, and I beg your pardon, Bruns, and Bruns with a fine left foot goal. And their smaller players are the ones that are just setting Geelong alight. They're also getting some good value from Barry Stoneham at centre forward. He really has contested very hard there. In that last 3 or 4 minutes, got the hands on ball in some congested areas and gave his smaller players a chance.
Back into the centre. Bruns' first goal. Geelong go further ahead. And Bruns again figuring in the action to Couch.
Couch is kicked towards half forward, and the mark has been taken for Geelong by Stoneham. Stoneham kicks it up towards the 10-metre square. No mark taken. Roving the pack well is Scott. Scott snapshot. Ooh, close. It's there. It's another goal to Geelong.
Well, what two magnificent goals from the Geelong smaller players. Robert Scott, I mentioned earlier on, one of the leading goal kickers for Geelong. He's got over 20 goals for the season. That's his second goal for the game. He kicked one in that second quarter. A good kick there from Stoneham. Again, figuring in that play there. Contest in the front of the pack by Exel. But what a fine goal there from young Robert Scott.
Gee, that's goal of the day, isn't it? Or close enough to it.
How was the roving of the pack?
Well, that's a la Jimmy Cracker, isn't it, Ian?
Brilliant stuff by Scott. So back in the centre, and the lead now looks unbeatable. Geelong very, very comfortable. Less than 7 minutes left. Kick to Campbell. Hand pass to Wilson. Wilson's short pass is okay, and the mark has been taken by Howard.
All Sporting coming off from Melbourne. Jim Steins coming on.
Howard, kick off the side of his boot. At centre half forward, Jackson can't break clear. Now he gets the hand pass out the back. Kick by Newport in towards the forward pocket. Gather by Boss, just gets his kick away outside 50 metres. Geelong defence has been impenetrable. Now Bairstow, hard up against the boundary line, takes it over. We'll have a boundary throw in.
Just over 6 minutes left of the third quarter. It's been a good one for the Cats and a not so good one for Melbourne, who again have had a fair bit of the play. But as Ian said, the Cats' defence has been impenetrable. Here's Bruns, who kicked a goal in this quarter. Ablett, love him or hate him, you can't ignore him. Exel, who kicked the first goal of the game, a hurried hand pass. Linda gets offloaded by Campbell as the ball is socked up towards Maracavas. Jackson might have got into his back. Ablett and Grinter. Ablett goes down. and he's got a free kick.
Oh, fiddly stuff, that.
It was fiddly, and John Norley's changed Gary Ablett, I beg your pardon, Tony Campbell and Rod Grinter. Campbell now picking up Bruce Lidner. That was pretty messy stuff there.
Pushed him in the chest.
Ablett's kick almost marked by Phoebe. O'Dwyer can't get clear. Snapshot for goal. That's not bad by Lindner. Oh, great snap.
Well, without going on about it, 3 magnificently inspirational goals for Geelong. Bruns, Scott, and now Bruce Lidner, who can do that miraculous thing on the forward line, and a magnificent shot at goal. And I mentioned before, almost an unassailable lead, even in these conditions when it is close. You would think that Melbourne have a chance, but being just over 8 goals down, it's going to be a very difficult task for the Melbourne Football Club.
Sensational goal. 3 superb snapshots have made the difference. 50 points now at the MCG, and again the ball is going forward to the left of screen. The free kick going Geelong's way. Burke, the recipient of the free kick.
So Burke, thumping kick towards centre half forward. Nearly the mark taken by Lindner. Kick off the ground. There's a free kick being picked out of it. In the back
To Lindner.
and it's going back to Lindner.
Yes, as he went for that mark, Ian, he went to take it around stomach height. As he came down, he got a push in the back. May have been from Grinter. Yes. Again, Tiggy, but players in front.
Well, I don't think the Melbourne fans would be too pleased with a few of the umpiring decisions. They've been a bit tiggy-touchwood. They all seem to have gone to the Cats. Lindner, drop punt, is good. So Lindner kicks his second, and the Cats kick their 10th. And it's a one-horse race now in the third quarter. Geelong 10-8, leading Melbourne 1-6.
Yes, and I think, Ian, John Northey could move his players around as much as he likes, but there's no one really giving them any life. He's got Wilson in the centre trying to get them out of there. Jackson and Beveridge, I mentioned before, trying to give them some spark. They just haven't got anyone that's going to take control of this game.
4.25 minutes left in the third quarter. It's been a purple patch for the Cats. 3 great snap goals, and then that one by Lindner. Couch gets clear, but the whistle has gone. And it will be a ball up just wide of the circle. Burke and O'Dwyer, they both took off the 4 nominations. Picked up by Burke, kicked back by Campbell, and he travels about 10 metres. Socket out towards the centre wing position. Picked up by Couch again. Up towards left half forward. Malakaris. Snapshot, won't be a score. Exel getting underneath it, so too is Danny Hughes. And he takes a safe mark. Hughes at left back pocket. Long kick, finds O'Dwyer. In turn finds Wilson. Don't know why they're booing him. Stretch. Stretch on left centre wing. Had a great first quarter. Boss hasn't done much wrong today, but couldn't take the mark there. Hocking tries to soccer it off the ground. It comes to White from Lyon. And a chance for the Demons again. That was, I think it was Lovett, wasn't it? There? No, it was Hout. Outside 50, the kick off the hands of Darren Morgan, and that came from Healy. 3 minutes and a bit. In fact, right on 3 minutes left in the third term.
John Northey now has Jim Steins at centre half back on Barry Stoneham.
5-4 to 1 behind. Kicked in this quarter by Geelong, so it's been a match-winning performance by them. Shepherding for Couch. Picked up by Hocking, and again Geelong get it out of defence pretty easily.
Hocking's kick towards the half-back area. A free kick picked out of that marking contest. Jimmy Steins with the football and gets it back to his fellow big man O'Dwyer. And I think that's where Melbourne have fallen down. They just haven't got enough from those 2 big fellows. O'Dwyer's kick finds Wilson in the centre. And Brian Wilson looking to give it to someone now. Play on, says the umpire. Kick falls in short. Rogers, Lyon for Melbourne. Can't break clear. Gary Lyon certainly struggling after that heavy knock earlier in the game.
And the Geelong backmen really have been very tight, and they've just manned up, and their followers have come down the ground to help out with support, and they've always had 2 or 3 players at the front of the back and a couple behind, and they've cleared it quite easily.
Big punch by Sean White. Stretch overruns it, gives Bairstow an easy chance to take the football away. And Spalding doing the chasing. Bairstow's kick towards the wing. Kick off the ground by Phoebe. He's a Melbourne player that's done pretty well. Close to the line it goes over now.
14 kicks
and we'll have a boundary throw in. Yes, Stephen Phoebe, ex-Tasmanian, did well in the first half in particular last week and has played pretty well this afternoon. O'Dwyer gets the tap out. Newport can't break clear. Stretches a chance. He gets it out. Kick off the ground by Jackson. In towards centre half forward. There's a free kick being picked out of it. It's going to Sean White for Melbourne. He's up on that forward line. His short kick finds Jackson. Perhaps the angle more difficult and still not within goal scoring distance. Jackson's kick in short and Lyon takes the mark. He's only about 3 or 4 metres in from the boundary line, but Gary Lyon, usually a pretty good kick of the football for distance anyway.
We saw that last weekend, didn't we?
A thumping kick, wasn't it?
At Princess Park, yep.
Perhaps with a drier ball though, Peter. Here, Gary Lyon, the ball has been played with for most of this quarter. Gary Lyon's kick is nice and long, but he's pulled it just a little bit and it's through for a behind.
Point to Melbourne with only 35 seconds left in the quarter. It's only their second score for the term. 2 behinds. An excellent term for Geelong. Tim Darcy named in the Victorian squad to meet South Australia. Darcy's kick up over the 50-metre line. Lovett was the flyer from the back. Bruns comes out with the ball. A short kick up towards Linda, who's kicked 2 goals in this quarter. And there's another goal scorer, Neville Bruns, who had a broken collarbone earlier in the year. But the veteran cat now playing some great football. Stoneham should kick it off the ground. Does so and goes. With 8 seconds left in the quarter, that will probably be the sealer. 11-8 to 1-7. It's been an excellent term for Geelong.
And a great play then again by their smaller players. This time again, Bruns, who kicked very well. All players misreading the flight of that ball there. Barry Stoneham showing great athleticism, which he has as an amateur runner with the Barwon Club. South Barwon Club is an 800 and 400 metre runner. And he did very well there to soccer that ball off the ground for a goal.
1 second left in the third quarter. We'll see a ball up, and that should just about be it. There was the siren to end an excellent term for Geelong. The Cats finished up kicking 6 goals, 4 or 11-8-74. Melbourne 1-7-13 at three-quarter time. (6-4 to 2 behind) were kicked in the third quarter in favour of the Cats. It really was a top-class exhibition of wet weather football. We now begin the final quarter with 61 points separating the sides in favour of Geelong. So it would appear another great boost to the Cats' already healthy percentage as we begin the second half of the season. Wilson trying to get clear. Wilson started on the bench today for Melbourne. Back into the side after a few weeks. Former Brownlow medalist. Another ball up just wide of the circle. Russo tosses it high. Burke gets high to win the tap away. Fumbled by Phoebe allows Bruns in. Bruns kicked a great goal to set the Cats on their way in the third quarter, picked up by Buse. He gives it over to Gary Hocking. Punch away by Campbell and Hughes. They both lost sight of the ball. Malakaris went through without it. Kick out of the pack almost by Steins, picked up by Stoneham. His shot at the goal registers only 1 behind. 11-9 the Cats score now. Melbourne 1-7. I didn't think it was that cold here today. Danny Hughes to bring the ball back into play. Hughes favours the member stand side, albeit slightly. Dwyer, almost a mark. At the back of the pack is Jimmy Steins. Dwyer, fresh air shot. He'll kick Gary Ablett's head off. Ablett grabbed, we're not in possession. By Günther will take the free kick. He's right on 50 in one of the muddiest parts of the ground. Kicked a couple of goals today, Ablett. And that's a strong mark taken in defence. Is that Healy? Yes, it is. Demon skipper gets up, mud was battered.
So Greg Healy, short kick to centre half back is marked by Lovett. Lovett's kick, pretty accurate, finds Wilson. Wilson looking for someone to give it to. Out wide, a player on his own is Grinter. He's got another player in support further afield. That's Jackson. Jackson running up towards the 50-metre line. A good pass by Ricky Jackson, and he finds Eyeshoal. The first real productive piece of play, and there's a pass into the square, and the mark has been taken by Stretch. And are they ironical cheers from Demon supporters?
Well, I hope not. They really have tried, Ian, but they've just been outclassed today by Geelong. As you mentioned, it's the first real sign of some team play by Melbourne, mainly brought about by the fact Geelong have just let loose a little.
And Stretch kicks the goal for the Demons. So it just narrows the margin that ever so slightly. 2-7-19 and Geelong 11-8-75.
And I'm sure John Northey would want his players to keep persisting. They usually do, Melbourne. But he'd also want to bridge that gap, having such a large break at three-quarter time. I'm sure for any number of reasons, percentage, confidence, whatever you like, that John Northey would like his players to bridge that gap as this last quarter goes on.
Cats go forward. That was only Melbourne's second goal. Geelong into attack again. Phoebe off the ground. Malakalis left it for a teammate, then Stretch chipped in. It's Bruns with Lovett. Still got his kick in. Wilson in front. Knock away by Hocking. Couch tries to charge through, gets a second chance. Mark Bairstow from a standing start. Long kick. Ablett bumped off the football. Johnson. Good clearing kick into the open spaces. The ball misses Stretch. Lovett's hand pass is effective. Onto Healy. Onto Newport. Back to Stretch, who had 9 kicks in the first quarter. Still been one of Melbourne's better players, though. Ball shuffled out. And picked up for the Cats. Driving forward. Up towards the left half-forward flank. The kick in there was from Buse. Geelong's defence standing firm, though. Here's Couch again. He's played an excellent game, Paul Couch.
Fantastic.
19 kicks he's had. This will be number 20. He'll certainly be in line for best on ground honours. Grinter. Bruns. Bumped off it. Second chance. Gets boot the ball quickly. I think he's put it out of bounds on the full. And it will be a free kick to Melbourne to be taken in the right back pocket as John Northey again goes for the phone. It'll be taken by... It's not going to be taken by Danny Hughes. It's by Alan Johnson. Straight up the ground, Johnson. He's found Grinter, who finds some space on the half-back line. On to Tony Campbell. Campbell at midfield, where the footing is just a little bit firmer. Darcy, has he taken the mark? I didn't think so. The umpire said, it's your kick. Whether he took the mark, he would have got a free kick in, I think, for pushing the back.
Well, the umpire was in great position, Peter, just off to the left of Tim Darcy now. So to judge that a mark was probably on for the umpire. Darcy's kick towards the wing. No mark taken. Good gather by Gary Hocking. He's got the ball out of those close tussles quite a lot this afternoon. Stoneham's kick into the forward line is beautiful. And Ablett takes the mark. Geelong really showing their class in these difficult conditions at the MCG.
Yes, and indicative of that is Barry Stoneham's kick, and that to find Ablett as he did in this part of the game, and he would be fairly tired. Very much a display of his great skill.
Ablett's kick smothered. Couch can't quite control the ball. It comes back towards Ablett. Johnson's showing desperation for Melbourne, but look, he's outnumbered. The shepherd by Ablett. Stoneham can't break away, but he gets an effective hand pass over the top. Attempted gather by Steve Hocking. Ball runs free to Buse. Buse kicked towards full forward. No mark taken there by Phoebe, but a free kick against Robert Scott. And Stephen Phoebe will kick the ball out of trouble for Melbourne. Phoebe now out towards half-back in front of the member stand. O'Dwyer can't mark. Punch away by Burke, but in doing so is infringed against the Melbourne big fellow, and O'Dwyer takes the free kick for Melbourne.
And the O'Dwyer's second kick for the day hasn't really been his afternoon. That's Rogers.
Great mark.
Rogers on right centre wing, started on the bench today for the Cats. Pumping punt kick down to half forward. Hocking out to Buse, who's done little wrong today. Andy Buse. And Hughes might have got a free kick there. That's socked away out of bounds by Johnson. Andy Hughes was being hung onto. 18.5 minutes left in the match as Eishold comes off the ground.
And Stephen Tingay on.
Ball's on the other side of the ground. And Dwyer taps it down. There's Buse again. Can't get clear. Good tackle applied by Stretch. And so we'll do it all again. There's a bounce for a bounce. Hardly. The ball up will take place about 30 metres out from goal. Pretty close to the boundary line too. Burke and O'Dwyer. Burke wins this one. Johnson's kick. Slews off the side of the boot. And there he is again, that man Paul Couch, as he comes in for kick number 20. That certainly wasn't his greatest kick of the afternoon. Bruns charges his way through. That was excellently done. Exel kicked the first goal of the game. Can he kick another one? That's not a bad sort of a kick. Oh, amazing. Great goal.
Well, when you're hot, Peter, you're really hot. And Gavin Exel, whilst only kicking one goal for the game so far, that's his second. He kicked the first one in that first quarter. Just again displaying their good sharpness, their ability to get their body up again, having been on the ground very quickly and seeing the opportunity, just control that ball, left foot, very quickly through the goals there. Bruns, Buse, Couch, Bairstow, all the same, very controlled players.
So Geelong, 62 points their lead now. Burke, who's done a magnificent job in the ruck, off to Scott. Scott's kick to half forward, mark the Bruns. You keep mentioning them, they keep popping up. Bruns' kick into the forward pocket is marked by Hughes. Hughes transfers play to the outer side, a little too far for Stretch. The player at the back to gather is Bairstow. Bairstow's hand pass to Bruns, pushed off the ball by Lovett, out the back to Stretch, off to the running player in support in Johnson. Johnson's kick in towards the centre, Howard overruns it. Darcy, a little bit more experience. Tim Darcy comes away and kicks the Cats up towards half forward, and there's a mark for Geelong taken by Stoneham. Stoneham, good player, in towards half forward. Mark to Phoebe, play on, says the umpire. Perhaps touched off the boot. Jackson can't control it, but the Geelong player has infringed on the Melbourne Rover, and Ricky Jackson kicks it out wide, out towards the wing. Stretch just gets around a little too easily. Left foot kick by Stretch, finds Spalding out in front of Stephen Hocking.
Spalding at the right half-back flank. Steins got to the front position. It's easy to say he should have marked it, but Burke does the tidying up work for the Cats, and it comes back to Spalding, so he will have another go. This time decides to give it to Phoebe, see if he has better luck. Still Burke in front. Malakalis can't pick it up. In fact, nobody's having any luck in there. A big pack of players developing, and the umpire will decide to ball it up. Just looking through some of the stats down there, Ian, I see Neville Bruns has had 21 kicks. He's been an excellent player, hasn't he?
Terrific performance.
Hasn't missed much. There's a wrestle. Now, who will come out of this with a free kick? It's going Burke's way, I guess, predictably on that score.
Frustration, Peter.
I think he's finished in front in the ruck contest.
He's done well, hasn't he? Despite the absence of Flanagan. Johnson, mark or free kick. Yes, Flanagan left the ground in the second quarter with somewhat of a limp, and predictably hasn't returned. Now the Callis on the bottom of the pack, finally picked up by Wilson, thrown out. I think that's to Lovett. Lovett's pass into Grinter at half forward, or a little bit short of that position. Rod Grinter, low trajectory kick down to the 50-metre line. It yorked Steve O'Dwyer. That's how to do it on all fours from Darcy. Out of bounds, about 35 to 40 metres out. Under 15 minutes left in this match. As the sunshine breaks through, albeit weakly, here at the MCG. Over the back by Sean White. 3 Melbourne players are there, and they lose out ultimately. The ball driven away by Bairstow up to the edge of the square. Lovett soccers it off the ground. Spalding. Wilson will have to be quick. Gary Ablett. Jackson. Healy. Stretch right on 50, but he can kick a long way. Schultz goes for the punch. Succeeds in getting the ball over the boundary line, and it'll be thrown in adjacent to the behind post.
Great chase there from Gary Ablett, as has Andrew Buse through the day, and their pace really has been quite outstanding today in these conditions.
Interesting to see they punched that ball to the boundary line too, Ross, which you've commented on during the afternoon. The ruck contest, the ball comes out the back now. Boss, short kick, and it was intentional. He saw Bruns. Bruns runs away and kicks it wide to the wing, where Scott takes the mark. Scott looking to get past, and he does. The short kick, looking for Stoneham. Brilliant pickup. Bruns runs past. His kick, ineffective. Intercepted by Johnson. His kick in towards half-back. And the mark has been taken there for Melbourne by Campbell. Perhaps a free kick was paid also. Campbell's kick into the centre. Jackson. Melbourne just going straight across the ground, but at least they've maintained or retained possession. Off it goes to Stretch. Stretch into Steins, and Steins' short pass finds Newport. Newport outside, who right on the 50-metre line, kicks it in towards full forward. O'Dwyer can't mark. Kick off the ground. Now a chance for Howard. Good pick up out of that muddy centre. Howard's kick into the forward pocket, and Rogers allows it to go over for a boundary throw in. Left forward pocket for the Demons, and it really has been a struggle for Melbourne all day. They've only kicked 2 goals, 7, and we've got 13 minutes left in the game. O'Dwyer can't get the tap out. Kick off the ground by Newport. Slews off the side of his boot, and we'll have a boundary throw in the right forward pocket, about 10 or 15 metres around from the Demons' goal. Melbourne supporters haven't had much to cheer about. Their team has really struggled against a strong Geelong defence.
I guess on today's display, Geelong would just about be close to flag favourite. Jackson off the ground. He's got a second chance, Ricky Jackson, but kicks it straight to Malakaris. Winter hastens after the ball, snares it just inside the boundary line, picks it up and has a snapshot at goal, but it will be through for a minor score or out of bounds. It's one behind to Melbourne. Kicked by Rod Grinter. 2-8 to 12-9, and out of that 12-9, Geelong kicked 6-4. A brilliant third quarter, especially that second part of the third term. Darcy, who gained selection in the Victorian state squad during the week after missing out on a senior berth in the side earlier in the year. A bit like Bruce Linder, others were preferred, but he's fought his way back well. Malakaris beats Grinter for the ball. Grinter's still down, holding his tummy. Ball beats Scott, chance for Spalding. Stoneham's in there, tries to get it back to Scott, who has mud rubbed into his eye, or more of it. And umpire Peter Carey will ball it up on centre wing. Under 12 minutes left in this match now. The umpire finds some firm footing. Let's hope the players can too. Healy. Stoneham. Knock on. Picked up almost by Scott. Stoneham still in there battling. Dives on top of Newport. Steve Newport could have almost got a free kick. Certainly deserved one for endeavour, if nothing else. The ball up in a similar position. Burke and Steins. If they'll give the umpire some room, they will. Burke wins it. Couldn't find a teammate with the palm down. Umpire Peter Carey will do it all again.
Tired boys.
They are, aren't they?
Enough, the sting's gone right out of this game. 2 games in 5 days in these conditions really does take its toll on its body.
81 to 20. Healy over the top. Rogers. Johnson. And Johnson spent all today on the back line. Stretch, one of Melbourne's leading possession gatherers today. That was his 21st kick. And speaking of leading possession gatherers, Neville Bruns. He's played an excellent game for Geelong today. He's had over 20 kicks. That was number 23. Ball landing just inside the 50-metre mark for the Cats.
Great endeavour there from Gary Hocking there. Caught behind, still got between the 2 Melbourne players, dived on the ball and kept him in their forward line, even when they're nearly 12 goals in front, 11 goals in front.
No one making any headway again. And so it will be balled up once more. A lot of the surface water is gone from this ground, but of course it's still pretty heavy. If we get a few fine days here in Melbourne, it should be able to recover, but we won't be seeing too much grass on it. Lyon goes for the hand pass. It's taken by Stretch, and he clears with a long kick.
Stretch's kick up towards centre half forward. Here's a real chance for the Demons. Jackson overruns it. Howard's looping hand pass, intercepted by Boss, and Geelong defence really rock solid. The kick by Boss finds Bairstow in the centre, and Bairstow with all the time in the world to sum it up and kick it towards centre half forward. Hocking and Lovett. Lovett just gets the ball out. Buse is there for Geelong, and the umpire will come in and ball it up. It's about 35 metres out from the Geelong goal. Andrew Buse, Brett Lovett. Steins gets the tap out. Newport's kick is really ineffective. Here's good play by Gary Hocking. Picks the ball up out of that muddy patch. Up towards full forward, no mark taken. Melakalis swoops on the football. Left foot snapshot by Melakalis, hits the punch.
Well, understandably, Ian, the Geelong players running on, doing very well even this last quarter. They must be very tired, but they just have that persistence to keep going. That's been the hallmark of their play this year.
Pretty easy to do, Ross, when you're 10 goals in front,
exactly
I suppose,
right,
isn't
yeah.
it? Your legs aren't quite as tired as perhaps Melbourne players are. The kick comes out to Wilson. Wilson looking to give the hand pass off. He does. Phoebe, left foot kick by Phoebe is okay. Up towards half forward. Kick off the ground by Morgan. And it goes over for another boundary throw-in.
And the throw-in will take place around about the left half forward flank for Melbourne. 8 minutes 40 left in the game. Official attendance today, 38,128. I think that was a lot less than many people expected, but there were reasons. Hocking again at the bottom of just about every pack today. Oh, beautiful tackle by Luke Beveridge. And he has been rewarded, has he?
Yes, he has. He's just come on the ground, actually, Peter, replace Stephen Newport.
It's good to see tackles being rewarded. I'd like to see more of it. Lyon has been fairly quiet today after that heavy clash in the first quarter. Picked up for the Cats by Linda, who kicked 2 beautiful goals in the third term. Hughes almost being held. His partner in crime down there, Alan Johnson, does the necessary tidying up for the Demons and finds Campbell. Campbell at the right half-back flank for Melbourne. Stretch and Bairstow. Bairstow's the first to recover. Beautiful pickup. Howard. Out it comes to Mark Boss. Boss's kick landing a little bit short. Runs for kick number 25, which he does get. I guess you'd have to put it down as ineffective. It clean bowls Sean White. At the Cats again. Rogers up towards Ablett at half forward. Ablett sockers it off the ground, albeit crudely. Morgan, a good turn of speed, but not sufficient to get him clear. Grinter on the bottom of that pack. Ablett back to Grinter, who hooks the kick across his body. Stoneham got 2 hands for the ball, and there's Bruns again. Goes for the hand pass. Couch, well caught, but did he have the ball? Umpire says play on. Jackson does just that. Loops the ball up towards the centre wing position. Tingay goes for the knock-on, and the ball is over the boundary line. Under 7 minutes left in the match.
Isn't it fascinating how the players are still waiting for the ball to roll, and it's getting stuck in the mud, and they're just totally confused on a couple of occasions.
Damien Burke's off the ground for Geelong, and Bill Brownless on.
Boundary throw-in. Up over the top, Sean White. Good knock-on. Rogers, great interception by Greg Healy. Greg Healy running up towards the 50-metre line. Kicks the ball 40 metres into the pocket. O'Dwyer can't mark. Now it just trickles over the line, and we'll have a boundary throw-in. And I'm sure those hand claps are for the strong Geelong defence. This time it was Schultz punching the ball away from O'Dwyer, and they really have joined in a great team effort by 6 solid performers during the afternoon. O'Dwyer, White again over the top. Malacalis's hand pass finds Bruns. Bruns off to Steve Hocking, and Stephen Hocking kicks the Cats out towards the wing, and a great mark taken by the fresh player Brownless. Brownless, a thumping kick up towards half forward, out in front of Gary Hocking, and there's a player who is unheralded off to Ablett. Ablett's kick towards full forward, mark to Danny Hughes. He's got no one to kick it to, and it comes in short. Chance now for the Melbourne side through Wilson. His kick off the ground ineffective. Malacalis, very, very constructive play there by Malacalis. Kicks the ball up towards full forward. Lindner can't mark the player with the football, Phoebe, and a free kick has been picked out of it. It will go to that demon defender, Stephen Phoebe. He's played pretty well. He's had 19 kicks, taken 1 mark, and kicks the ball in towards centre half back, mark to Spalding.
Earl Spalding at the position that Ian mentioned, right on the 50-metre line. Lobs it short. Gary Lyon takes the mark in front of Malacalis. Lyon at left centre wing, spiral punt kick to the half-forward flank. Mark has been taken by Johnson, who spent most of the day in the back pocket. Stephen Stretch, mark number 7. Kick number 23 for him. He had about 9 of those in the first quarter. Steve O'Dwyer has had his colours lowered in the ruck today. Burke's done a particularly good job there as Darcy gets hustled over the boundary line with the ball. And the sun comes out again. Weather-wise, it's been quite a pleasant day today. Jackson Ball slews off the side of the boot, as it turned out. Not a bad sort of a pass to Tingay, but a bad kick. Hocking. Ball scooped out to Sean White. Beautiful tackle from Buse. Healy couldn't control the ball off the turf. Jackson tries to spin out. No, it's not Jackson, I think it might be Howe. It's Tingay.
And whilst Melbourne are trying very hard, Peter, Geelong are still doing the right thing at the right time, even though they had this very, very good lead.
Oh, had a fresh air shot. Healy comes up with the ball. Schultz applies the tackle. So we'll do it all again.
When you are 10 goals in front, it's very easy to just ease the pressure and let the other side come back, but Geelong have just kept at it, and full credit to them.
The West Coast Eagles did something similar last night, didn't they, in the last quarter when Footscray came back. It's taking nothing away from Footscray either. Buse lobs it high to centre wing. Stoneham and O'Dwyer, the two redheads doing battle. Hocking knocks it on. Love it. Can't get clear. Does get it to Gary Lyon. Ultimately tackled by Couch is ineffective. Up the Bruns. He's close to best on the ground. He's had a lot of kicks today. This is Bill Brownless. Keen to do well. He can kick the ball a country kilometre. But bending an analogy a little bit, he's kicked it out of bounds.
He put himself off balance there. He took off and got right away with those fresh legs. Went to kick left foot and decided to kick right at the last minute. And no control of that kick whatsoever.
Free kick taken by Johnson, who gets it to Campbell.
Campbell's kick out wide towards the wing. It goes to the back and Bruns gets another kick up towards half forward. Was that a mark to Brownless? Yes, says the umpire. And Brownless will kick the Cats to within goal scoring distance, up to within the 30-metre mark. Punch away by Hughes. Grinter in there for Melbourne. And look at the mud just caked on the bodies. Pretty tired players, I would think, on this MCG. Geelong having played Essendon here last Monday, and Melbourne having played Hawthorn in equally atrocious conditions. Ablett's kick towards the 10-metre square, kick out by Hughes. Lovett gets the hand pass off to Phoebe, and Phoebe with his 20th kick looking for Jackson in the centre. Kick off the ground by Wilson is okay. Couch is in the van out wide on centre wing out of side, and Couch coming up for possession number 30. His short kick finds Bairstow. And Bairstow, another good player. 24 possessions to the ex-Western Australian. High kick. And there's a mark, is it? It's been paid to Lindner. Lindner just inside the 50-metre line. Bruce Lindner has kicked 2 goals.
Both in the third quarter.
Pretty hard to kick a goal from here, I would think. Big kick, though, by Lindner. Just off to the right, over the top of Billy Brownless's head, and through for a behind. So Bruce Lindner has kicked 2 goals too in that scoreline for Geelong of 12-11, and the Cats lead by 63 points.
Which is about their average winning margin in recent weeks, isn't it? Dwyer in front, the mark almost. Kick smothered by his opposite number 1 in Hocking. And the umpire, Carey, will ball it up right on the 50-metre line, if you can still see it, or what's left of it down there. Just not a minute left in this game. The last quarter really has been a formality. After the Cats nailed the door shut in the third quarter, Dwyer taps it down to Grinter, who can't get clear, gets bumped out of it by Stoneham. And we'll go through it all again.
Yes, Peter, in their last couple of games, Geelong have won by 54 points last week and 66 the week before. So fine effort in these conditions.
Well, their percentage is almost worth another game. Buse had the ball taken from him. Mark Boss, a member of the strong Cats defence. Neville Bruns, look at that for a mark. And Bruns coming in for kick number 28 in my book. Best on the ground. Certainly have to put him in the top 3. Fine mark to Scott. And Scott's had a few possessions himself. 11 and 5. Only a few seconds remaining in the game, so this will be the last scoring chance, one would think. Strong mark. Again, the value of playing in front on a day like today. Should be able to score from there, and he has done. Right on the siren, and it's a goal. I guess one could say almost fittingly kicked by Scott. That's his 3rd goal. Let's check the final scores. A runaway win to Geelong, as Gary Ablett has a few words to say to Gary Lyon. 13-11, 89 to 2-8-20 at the MCG. Well, it really was an anticlimax, wasn't it, Ian?
Oh yes, I guess that we came here thinking that Melbourne, after beating Hawthorn in a mud heap on Monday, would certainly give Geelong a run for their money. But Geelong early in the game, with their great teamwork and their very, very skillful forward line, got away to a handy lead at half-time. They were 5-4 to 1-5, and that really gave them a launching pad for the second half, where they really annihilated Melbourne in that third quarter. We've mentioned their forward line probably over the last 4 weeks before that in particular, where they kicked big scores, but their defence was just unbelievable today. They really didn't give Melbourne a sniff. Melbourne certainly showed up that their forwards are not quite up to it at this stage, and they were smothered right out of it. Geelong winning very, very comfortably.
Malcolm Blight, the victorious coach, pretty happy with his side's effort today. 4 games on the MCG, and they've won them all. And today by another very big margin, 89 to 20. 13-11 to 2-8 at the MCG. As the players leave the fields, we'll leave you for just a moment, but be back shortly.